Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I'm paddling through Matheson Hammock Park in South Florida. And this is a 620 square acre park. It's actually the oldest county park in South Florida. It was founded in the 1930s. And it has a really interesting history because this was one of the preferred areas to drop off drugs coming from South America during the 1970s and 1980s here in Miami, and I'll get into that a little bit later. If you've ever explored the area, you'll know that it's full of canals, some like this one through which you can pilot a medium draft ship through, and others like the one I'm about to go into, barely wide enough to bring through a small boat, low draft, or even a canoe or kayak. During the boom of Miami's drug trade, which was in the 70s and 80s, you had several different methods of getting drugs from, specifically cocaine and marijuana, from Colombia here to South Florida. And, you could have go-fast boats, which are just, long, very fast, obviously, cigar-shaped boats. That could take them directly from Colombia right across the Caribbean to here. You could also offload the drugs at these kind of warehousing boats just offshore in international waters, and then they could be parceled out to smaller boats who would then bring them out to would actually deliver them to South Florida. Or you could just pilot the drugs in via airplanes. South Florida has hundreds of miles of pretty wild coastline, especially the farther south you go by the Everglades. And that makes it perfect to slip in, these fast little boats while skirting around the Coast Guard. And, it's all well and good to be able to dump your product out in the Everglades in the middle of nowhere, but you still need to retrieve it, bring it back to South Florida, and then distribute it. So you can't just leave it, miles away from the nearest road or other access point. You have to have some mode of transportation, get a van, get a car out there to pick it up. So that's what makes Matheson Hammock such an interesting place to smuggle, anything, including drugs. And the reason is, it has, like I said, like you see me paddling through right now, all these canals intersecting it. And some of them go directly into the city, especially like the Coral Gables waterway, which will take you right into, like, you could literally drop off a boat in someone's backyard if they're on the canal, and just leave your drugs there and off you go. Also, the canals, as you can see, they have a canopy of red mangroves, and you could just hide out here if you're being chased. And you could spend, depending on the canal, you could spend a couple days out here and just lay low until the chase is up. Later on, specifically in the late 80s, early 90s, the U.S. Coast Guard and other government agencies cracked down on the Caribbean route for the drug trade, which pushed it through Central America and Mexico. So, nowadays, you don't really ever see large shipments of drugs being dropped off directly to South Florida from South America or elsewhere. And just like that, we're out of the canal and headed into Biscayne Bay, like many others before us. Hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please share and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.